I mean, this is more like what we always say, a Merchant Ivory film and all that kind of stuff. But I think that, and so I'm going to tell people right off the bat, if you're looking at this and saying, oh, it's one of those dry Academy Award type films, and yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's better than a lot of those, though.
It's like it is, but I don't know if I necessarily call it dry, or it's not as dry.
No, I'm talking to, look, we have a very diverse crowd of people. Sure. And so if you're the kind of person that walked out of Skyline and was just like, yeah, aliens, I don't know if you're going to want to go see, the King's Speech. But for people who recognize this for the great filmmaking that it is a very good film.
If you look forward to the Academy season because you love the type of films that get nominated, then you're probably going to like this. You really will. I mean, it's hard to compare it to Merchant Ivory because there's something specific I don't like about Merchant Ivory films is that there's never any sense of humanity in them. I mean, it all just feels like you're taking a portrait of a drawing room and everything that goes along with that. With here, the relationship between Geoffrey Rush and Colin Firth is there's such a sense of camaraderie eventually through it, and the film earns that sense of camaraderie. Watching it play out, knowing that Colin Firth's character is so, I mean, he's desperate. He's at the end. He doesn't know what else to do, but he's also angry. He doesn't even want to admit that it's as bad as it is. Versus Geoffrey Rush, who's this complete maverick. I mean, he just doesn't give a shit. He knows he can help him, and he has a way of convincing him of it. Watching these two play off each other is a rare pleasure. It really is.
Not only do I agree with you, but the drama that's going on with the royals, with Guy Pearce as the older brother who's just such a
playboy.
Yeah, playboy, ne'er-do-well. I mean, even like being king, he's like, oh, it's such a burden. I hate that I have to be shackled with this. And like looking at him like, shut up.
Stop being such a weenie.
No, it's clear he doesn't have the spine for it either.
Yeah, but I mean, on top of just like how great the acting was and good writing, and you really get into it, I was taken completely by surprise by how beautiful it was and the cinematography throughout it. I mean, I love when somebody takes a film that's not a big film and they do so much with the camera. And I really enjoyed that. Just like times I would just look at it and go like, wow, that's gorgeous right there.
It was cool that they did that, but they never called attention to it either. It's not like one of those films like, and now here's the landscape. Isn't it beautiful? We filmed it exactly the right time of day. It's not like that at all. It's just the way he chooses to frame his shots. Yeah. They're gorgeous. And some of these, I mean, obviously when you got a lot of stuff taking place in like Buckingham Palace, it's going to look pretty awesome anyway. And this digital film, I don't know if they're shooting on the new Red camera or what, but
it was a shot.
I don't know, but it looks fantastic.
So are you sure this was shot digitally though?
Well, yeah. Couldn't you tell watching it that it was in true HD? I was looking at it going, damn, this is really crisp and clean.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if it was a digital print or if it was shot with film and,
well, anyway, it looks absolutely fantastic. No question about it.
In scenes where, you wouldn't think, it's like there's one where the two of them are walking and it's kind of foggy, and just the way the whole thing looked, it was like being in some kind of dream. It just like, it's the first thing that ever made me like wish I was someplace that had a cold climate.
No, you know what? It's funny you should bring up the cinematography, because that's the thing that, it's not a problem, but it was repetitive to me. Something. I mean, the director of this, let me look at the director. The director of this is, Tom Hooper. And I know this because he made a film that I don't think a lot of people had seen, which I liked a lot. It was called The Damn United. Michael Sheen comes in and plays the coach of this team of Leeds. He's like a 44-day stint as a coach who's just full of himself.
You're right. Only you saw that.
Yeah. And you know what? And it was a really good film. And so when I heard that this was coming out, it was by this director, I was like, oh, I'm eager to see what else he does, because I think he's really great with actors. Like I said, in that movie, Michael Sheen gave a really excellent performance as his coach. And looking at this and hearing clips from him, I'm like, this is a movie that really gets by for me on its two leads. Not that everything else wasn't excellent here. Colin Firth, you already said it. Colin Firth and what's his name? Geoffrey Rush. Geoffrey Rush is amazing in here. And Colin Firth, I mean, everybody thinks that to play somebody with this stammer, that itself takes concentration. I mean, it's so easy to seem like you're doing this, with the fake stutter.
No, he had a real unique style of stammering that was convincing, but not like a stammer that I've heard from anybody.
No, it was. I thought that was an amazing performance on his part. So the two of them together, that was the heart of the movie to me. As far as the cinematography goes, it's beautiful. I just saw it kind of being sort of repetitious. I mean, there's certain shots that now you could say it's style. Or you could say, well, I just see him doing the same shots over and over again. There's so many scenes where he likes to shoot people kind of off camera to the left and at the corner at the bottom of the screen. And also, he has a certain lens. I don't know what you would call it. It's not exactly a fisheye lens, but it like has this really weird forced perspective to things where they kind of seem to like go into a forced focal point, and he uses that to great effect in certain scenes. When Colin Firth comes out and you see the claustrophobia on his face of having to talk to these people, and they just film all these people in this forced perspective, it does give you the feeling that he's probably sensing. But then there are some scenes where he's just shooting like a building, and I'm like, okay, you've done this shot several times, and now you don't really need it here. But
I hate those building shots.
Yeah, they're like, damn buildings. What are those buildings saying?
Can't we just put a different building in the shot? But this is the building where it takes place. No one's going to notice.
But I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the scene where Jeffrey Rush and Colin Firth. Jeffrey Rush just says, "Look, I know you don't want to be seen with me in public, but get your hat. Let's go for a walk." Yeah. And they're walking through this, and it's what you think of when you think of the foggy streets of London. There's this huge mist that comes through. Yeah, the London fog, and it is very dreamlike, and it just adds something to that scene because it really does isolate Colin Firth and Jeffrey Rush together from whoever else is around them. And I don't know if that was the purpose of that, but it delivered that very well.
One of the big appeals of this film for me, and you mentioned this right at the very beginning, was that it is educational and it tricks you into learning something that's actually pretty goddamn pertinent. We're talking about the beginning of World War II. We're talking about, the rise of Winston Churchill and Neville Chamberlain. We're talking about like everything that was going on right there, and a whole thing I had no idea about that was happening. I mean, that there was this crisis going on for the upcoming king that could have very well changed the course of the war in many ways, because if your public doesn't support your king, it meant more back then. Naturally, nowadays they're just like, oh, who gives a shit?
Yeah, who cares? Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you really do get, and that's the other thing about this. It's like, usually when I hear about, I don't understand British royalty, obviously.
Any royalty.
Any royalty, really. I don't like today. I'm like, why do y'all even have it? I mean, I understand. But the thing is that this movie, being that it was on the onset of World War II, it gave me, I understood why then royalty was important. As I said, that's a figurehead of power that they needed at the time, and the movie delivered that very well.
And there was still a point there. I mean, that was when the transfer of power was first really starting to happen between the monarchy and the prime minister. Right. I mean, it hadn't really totally crossed over to the prime minister at that point. And it's fascinating seeing that is detailed. They talk about that specifically, where Colin Firth is like, look, I supposedly have all this power, but I don't have any power.
Because I can't fucking
shit. All I can do is lay in my silk robe and smoke cigarettes while I read magazines.
And you would think that right at that moment, you'd go, oh, this is awesome.
What was more educational for me was finding out just how I didn't realize how connected the king was to the church.
Oh, yeah.
I knew back in the olden times, but I didn't realize that even like as late as that was still.
Well, we usually think of like the Rome and the Pope and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we're not thinking about the British having like a Sith Lord behind them.
Well, yeah, I know, with Derek Jacobi staring around like Cardinal Richelieu at every screen. I thought his eyeballs are gonna pop out of his head like Marty Feldman.
Well, it's just one of those where where they're saying like, oh, you can't have a divorce. The church won't recognize it. I mean, like now you don't even think about that.
Sure.
And I thought the cutoff was a lot sooner, or before we got to that point right around World War II. I was just shocked to find out, it's still going on.
Yeah, the king was still the head, considered to be the head of the Church of England. So you can't very well go, break those rules. I mean, there have obviously been kings who did it, and they created new churches. I need to cut off my wife's head, so I'm just going to start a new church.
Right. That's why I was just like, wow, that was still going on back then. And here they are about to have Tony Stark as the new king. I got nothing but praise for this movie, for everything we said. If I was anything negative, there was times where it slowed down, and I just really did not like the casting of Timothy Spall.
Well, as Winston Churchill.
It's almost like every British movie, like they go like, wait, we got to fit Timothy Spall in here somewhere. It's in his contract. He's got a contract worked out with the King of England.
British ass Timothy.
Yeah, and I just thought he didn't work as Winston Churchill at all. So that's the only reason that I give it a low full price.
Yeah, actually, I'm right there with you. It's about a low full price for me. The best thing about this for me are the two lead performances. They're remarkable and they're mesmerizing. But the film slows down a lot when it's not the two of them together on screen. It slows down a lot when it's not the two of them. I didn't even think about it until you said it. But yeah, there's something. I just see the rat guy from Harry Potter when I see it.
And that's what we're talking about. If you want to know who Timothy Spall is, he's the rat guy.
Yeah, but I give it a low full price.
Yeah. No, I already said I think this is a movie that is giving like two really amazing performances. Everything else is good behind that, but it's everything we expect from a film like this. Seeing, and what was the guy's name? Lionel Logue. That was the biggest thing for me. I get the feeling like he helped British society, because it seems like, you know, King George the Sixth would have been an asshole. You know, had this guy not come in and just taking the wind out from under him.
Well, there's a shot towards the end as he's like, you know, presumably, as we all know, things turned out okay.
Yeah.
And they keep showing Jeffrey Rush, and he's just kind of looking. He's not really smiling. He's more kind of like, that's right, motherfucker. That kind of look on his face. And, you know, you're just waiting. I want to see the story to happen afterwards, how he turned into this total Rasputin motherfucker.
You know, it did almost seem like that.
It did.
Like it was one of those, like he gave him the high five, like, you did it with my help.
Exactly.
And never forget it.
Yeah, never forget it. I made you.
No, that's what it looks like. He looked like, yeah, bitch, I got in your mind. You mine now, you know? And so, yeah, I really like seeing the wind taken out of like royalty sales in this. It's nice seeing Helena Bonham Carter, somebody we hadn't mentioned too much. It's nice to see her looking like you know, a woman instead of like some fucking Tim Burton cartoon, you know. So
I know, almost didn't recognize.
Yeah,
she's his personal Barbie doll, pretty much.
Yeah,
she just dresses her up in the costumes he's got.
But it was wonderful seeing her in this role, because it was very good. A lot of great performances in this. I don't even give it a low full price. I give it a full price. I mean, it is a good film. I mean, it's an honest to good film, and I think like Colin Firth is probably going to. Jeffrey Rush, I hope he doesn't get cast aside as being recognized for an Academy Award, maybe Best Supporting Actor.
Both of them might get nominated for Best Actor. I mean, it always confuses me that whole. Really, is Jeffrey Rush in this movie that much less than
they would
Colin Firth?
Like he's got a better chance at winning.
Yeah, I know. It just bugs me because they're not hard and fast rules for such things. That's all.
Yeah, but you can expect to see both those guys
get
nominated for something.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice like the size of Jeffrey Rush's head? It's like twice as long as Colin Firth. I mean, like there's a point where they're standing nose to nose, and I was like looking like, Jesus Christ.
Looks like Deputy Dog.
Yeah. Jeffrey Rush looks like a tree these days. I mean, it's like
they'd have been in Lord of the Rings is one of those.
Yeah. Looking at him, I'm like, do you got that Rocky Dennis disease? Because his head is getting bigger and more gnarled as he gets older. I think it grew in this movie. I think by the end of this movie, Jeffrey Rush was like a Mr. Potato Head. This dude with nothing but mouth at the end. No wonder you could teach somebody to talk.
He's more head than man.
Like Matt and George the Stammerer. Get up, you can't sit there, get up!
Why not? It's a chair.
That is St. Edward's chair.
People have carved their names on
Listen
it.
to me! Listen to me!
Why should I waste my time listening to you?
Because I have a voice!
Yes, you do.
Your greatest test is yet to come.
What's he say?
I don't know, but he seems to be saying it rather well.
Your first wartime speech.
Broadcast to the nation and the world.
This great time of crisis.
However this turns out, I don't know how to thank you.
Bertie, you're the bravest man I know.
I intend to be a very good queen, to a very great king.
Forget everything else and just say it to me.